All right, no foldable this time. This time it's going to be just straight up writing in your notebook. So we are going to distribute and combine like terms. So that is when in that previous foldable, you see a parentheses, you multiply, combine like terms if it's got the same type of term on the same side of the equal bar, okay? So that's the new thing. We've done this before at the beginning of the school year. All right, let's jump into it so we're not wasting time. First things first, always important, draw that equal bar. Now, I have a parentheses. I'm going to take this -3 and I'm going to multiply it to everything in the parentheses. So -3 times 2x gives me -6x. -3 times this 5 becomes a -15 or a -15. I didn't mess with anything else, so it stays the same, okay? Now I'm left with a two-step equation that I know how to do. We've been practicing 2 days with this. First, I'm going to move that constant. So I'm going to add that 15, that's my constant, on both sides. What you do on one side, you do on the other, and 15 eliminates all the way. Bring down that -6x because we didn't mess with it. And then I can do 33 plus 15 is 48. Then I move that coefficient. So I divide by -6 on both sides because -6 is secret multiplication here. And those -6 on the left together cancel. We are left with x equals -8. And that is my final answer. Okay, next one. Equal bar. We are going to take this 7 because that's the number in front of my parentheses that I see here, and we are going to distribute. So 7 times a -2 is a -14x. 7 times this -3 is a -21. Notice I did not move anything on the other side of the equal bar. The only thing that should be on your equal bar is your equal sign. Bring down that 7. Now, this line here, this is the one we are looking at now. This is a two-step equation. We know how to do this because we're super nerds. 21 is my constant, so I'm going to add 21 here to eliminate. And if I do it on one side, I got to do it on the other. When you're doing something that's opposite, you got to do it on both sides. All right, so 7 plus 21 is 28. Equal sign gets dropped down. -14x gets dropped down as well. We did not mess with that. Now we are looking at this line, okay? So as you go down, whatever the last line is, that's the one you're looking at. Okay, I have a -14, and that is a coefficient, and it's got secret multiplication happening, so I divide by 14 on both sides. This leaves me with a -2 equals x. That's my final answer. First things first, I'm going to draw an equal sign down my... No, I'm going to draw an equal bar down my equal sign. Okay, so I don't see any parentheses, just a 9. However, on the other side, on this right side here, I see that I have like terms. We have this -2 here, that's a constant, and this 9 here, that's a constant. If they're on the same side, you use the same sign. So -2 plus 9, I'm going to give these a little arrow thing here, is going to give me a +7. I could write that 7 there, and that's totally fine. 2x stays how it is, but don't forget the plus sign that goes in front of that 2x. It's still being added. And everything else drops down as well. Again, left with a two-step equation, which we know how to do. Subtract that 7, it's my constant on both sides. This leaves me with 2 equals, and then that 2x comes down. It's still positive, I just don't have to write that plus sign. Now I need to get rid of this coefficient that we see happening here. So this has got secret multiplication, so I'm going to divide that 2 on both sides. Now be careful, do not say that 2 divided by 2 is 0. 2 divided by 2 is 1, so 1 equals x. Number 4, we have 3x plus 5 minus 9 equals 5. I have no parentheses, but I do have like terms on the same side of the equal sign. 3x is a coefficient, and -9x has a coefficient. They both have variables. So same side, same sign. 3x minus 9 gives me -6x. I do not mess with that +5, so it's going to drop down. Equal sign on the equal bar, drop down that other 5 as well. Then I have a constant of 5, so I'm going to subtract it on both sides. The 5's on the left eliminate. 5 minus 5 is not 1. It is 0, just in case. Negative 6x drops down, and so does that equal sign. So this is the line we are now looking at. I am going to divide by negative 6 on both sides because it's got secret multiplication happening with that x. These negative 6's cancel out. They eliminate from each other, and we are left with x equals 0 divided by negative 6 is 0, not negative 6. Last two, let's look at number 5. First things first, draw an equal bar. Okay, now I see that I have a parenthesis, so I'm going to deal with that first. This negative 2 is going to get multiplied to each term, so negative 2 times 2x is negative 4x. Negative 2 times negative 5 becomes a positive 10, so write it as plus 10. This 10 is not in the parentheses, so I am not going to multiply it. I'm just going to drop it down, the equal sign and the 12. Okay, only distribute to the stuff in the parentheses. Now, I'm looking at this line right here. Negative 4x plus 10 equals 12. Well, I see that we have some like terms going on here. So 10 plus 10 are my like terms. They are both constants that I can add together. And 10 plus 10, hopefully, we know is 20. And that 20 is positive, so let's make sure we put that plus sign in front of it. Nothing else gets combined, so drop everything else that we did not mess with, that was not involved in the combining of like terms. Drop it all down. Oh my gosh, look at that. We are left with a two-step equation that we know how to do. So now we are looking at this line. So I am going to get rid of my constant. I'm going to subtract that 20, and if I do it on one side, I got to do it on both sides if I'm isolating. These guys eliminate. That negative 4x is still there, so I'm going to bring it down. So is that equal sign. 12 minus 20. Now notice, there is no fraction bar here, so do not divide it. That is not what we're doing. If you do not see the fraction bar like we do here, then do not divide, okay? See that mistake every year. No dividing because we subtracted. So 12 minus 20, I believe is negative 8. Yes. Then we have negative 4x equals negative 8. This negative 4 is being multiplied to that x, so I divide it. Oh, look, there's a dividing bar. Yes, now we are going to divide that 4. These 4s, they eliminate. We're left with just an x. But negative 8 divided by negative 4, it gives us a beautiful 2. It's positive. And we're done. Last one here is a doozy. Okay, I forgot to put a negative in front of my 29, but that one information still counts. So negative 1 times 3 and multiply it by this negative x. This gives me negative 3 plus 8x. Now I have 5x by 3 plus 8x equals negative 29. I have like terms on the left side. I got 5x and 8x. Those are both coefficients, so I can add them together because they're on the same side of that equal bar. And that makes 13x minus 3 equals negative 29. Now, I am going to add that 3 on both sides because they constant. And this gives me 13x equals negative 26. And this is at the point where I realized I forgot the negative on my 29. Can't read my own notes, you guys. And I even checked twice to make sure I wrote everything down. Now, this 13 is being multiplied to this x, so to get rid of it, I divide. They cancel, divide. On the other side, this leaves me with x equals negative 2. Okay, that's the end of the video. Feel free to watch it again so that you get the concepts a little bit better.